Support for the show comes from Amazon Prime. You might think of Prime as only a way to get fast, free delivery, or maybe as the place to stream movies, shows, and sports. But it's actually way more than that. Maybe you've got a passion or a hobby. Prime can help you get the most out of it. Whether you're streaming documentaries on marine animals, ordering action figure stands with free one-day delivery, or finding the perfect playlist to impress that special someone, Prime makes it easier and faster to do what you love. Whatever you're into, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into. Hey everyone, welcome to Quick Served. I am Andy. This is brought to you by Amazon Prime. Guys, I am a little overwhelmed by this episode. I don't know what we can say, just yapping on about what we just saw. Easily one of the greatest matches of all time. Anyone who doesn't think so is just living in their own nostalgia. These guys and what they did, side to side, the movement they had, the shots they hit, the opportunities squandered, and squandered isn't even a fair word because they were both just playing so well. It's not as if someone let it go unless we're nitpicking, right? I mean, I'm like humbled to have watched this match. What Carlos did in the fifth set breaker might have been the best run of 12 points that I've ever seen anyone have. It's just absurd the level that these two have taken this game to. And like the big three before them, like they're pushing the game to heights that I don't know that we've ever seen before. I mean, the way Jannik came out, how hard he was hitting the ball, it was just absurd. The fact that we're at 5 hours and 40 minutes and they're still standing, it's just, you know, Jannik dealing with maybe some cramps and then figuring it out, and Carlos never quitting, and then Jannik never quitting, and points being, you know, a huge factor, not as if like, oh, the guy's missing forehands or he's missing backhands, sitting here and being like, oh, his first serve percentage has come down four points. And that's going to be the difference. It's like the misses aren't even misses. It's like you miss your spot on a forehand by 2 feet, and it's curtains. It's always this weird thing where you're happy for one's successes, but then I just feel like, you know, these pangs of I just feel badly for Jannik. You know, I'm sure in his right mind he knows there's nothing to hang his hat about. I'm sure in his right mind he knows he played his ass off. I'm sure in his right mind he knows that 3 months ago this was an unbelievable result, and yet that won't change him thinking about it while he goes to bed for a while. It just won't. And Carlos it's just, I don't know. He's able to just bring out emotions in people and fans, and, you know, never having come back from 2 sets down, which is always a little bit of a deceiving stat because the great players don't often find themselves 2 sets down. I think that's one of the more overrated stats along with 5-set record, because, you know, Carlos's 5-set record or Jannik's 5-set record, I guarantee you most of those are come in against other players who are top 5 or top 10 in the world, because it always was a stat that kind of used to annoy me a little bit. You know, it's almost like it's all neutral. You're better in 5th sets. How about I'm better at not having someone get to the 5th set against me? Like, where's the stat for that? But, you know, I don't ever want to, like, I know that they're going to keep doing it. Like, Jannik's never won a match over 4 hours. He was playing his ass off at 5.5 hours into this one and turned it and gave himself a chance. Like, those stats are going to fall hollow on me. And if you've been there and you know what it feels like, and you know what your body feels like, and you know what the mental gymnastics is to stay in a match like that, those are good fodder for TV. But they don't tell the story. You know, you watching that, I don't, you don't want to be a victim of the moment. And also I don't know that there's anyone that's going to push back and say, if that's not the best match that I've ever seen, it's on the short list of 2 or 3 best matches that I've ever seen. And you know, I normally am against making those judgments like straight off of something, but I don't know that I've seen tennis played like that by 2 people for 5.5 hours before. And, you know, I understand Novak and Rafa, and I think they were ahead of where the game was 10 years before that. In fact, I know that to be true. But just because they're not at the ends of their career doesn't mean we can call this match what it was in real time, which is one of the best ever. And I don't, Jannik moving at 6'4", 6'5", and Carlos taking full cuts, and he can hit it both ways, and he can hit drop shots, and the kick serves they were hitting and the ground they were covering. And I mean, my jaw was on the floor 77 times during this match. And Jannik and what I don't know. He might be the classiest person I've ever seen. And like, he had a legit argument with the umpire in the fifth about a non-call, which means you're, playing a point instead of looking at a second serve, with no face or tone or anything else. He genuinely thanked everyone that worked on the match afterwards. I wouldn't have done that. I'm not a good enough person to do that. I would have made some snarky, stupid remark. Like, it's just really impressive. And he's, if you weren't a fan before, I don't know how you watch him do what he does and have anything negative to say about him. Carlos came back and took this match. Jannik, I don't think, let it go. It's not as if we've seen matches let go before with misses, or this was just, one of the best players in the world. And I guess we can call these guys two of the best players of all time. I'm ready to say that. Time will tell, and we like to always kind of hit certain markers, but the level that I saw today, these two are two of the best of all time now. We should just say it in real time as opposed to just waiting. It was phenomenal. I mean, just phenomenal tennis. I normally have a lot more to say, X's and O's and all that, and we can go through it, but it almost seems a little shallow to go into that and tell you what someone did wrong and someone did right just at certain moments, because they both did so much right today. I don't know. This is I feel like a weird feeling. Like, I don't want to say anything that disrespects the magnitude of what we just saw with, me going, Sinner was pounding the forehand and then he wasn't, or, first, like, that seems just so stupid to me in this moment. I think they both executed to the max of their ability 95% of the time in this match. Just phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal fitness, phenomenal. It just phenomenal. I can't get over it. And I do have to correct something and then we'll get back to this match and I'll ask you guys what you thought about it. But we normally do the show straight away after it finishes. So an example of 2 days ago, I said a bunch of stuff about Novak leaving the court and the fact that I digested that as him not knowing whether or not he'd be back. And I happened to be right that day that what I was watching and what I was feeling ended up being what Novak said in his press conference. He said, "I don't know if I'll be back again." That's exactly what that was. So, you look smart. Yesterday, I said, the way that Sabalenka has generally carried herself during the, post-match ceremonies and all of that stuff, it has been largely good. She normally has a joke or is complimentary. I didn't really like what she did in the post-match presser yesterday, talking about how terrible she played and talking about all this stuff and talking about how Iga would have won had she played Coco. Like, I don't know, like if a frog had wings, it wouldn't bump its ass when it hopped. Like, what's the point of saying it? Like, it doesn't. I thought it was beneath the precedent that she's set for herself before. And frankly, it doesn't matter. Scoreboard wins, loses, but there was just no reason. Like, you can feel that way. And I think the conditions helped Coco a ton, like a lot. I said it yesterday on the show, but they are what they are. We know the drill at this point. We know the contract. We know sometimes it works for you and sometimes it doesn't. And certainly it can create an outlier result. And certainly we can all sit here as analysts and say on a perfect day, the huge ball striker, it's an advantage if there are less elements. But that's like the what if game is a dumb one to play. I was disappointed with her going on and on about it, and I wasn't privy to her press conference when I said that she generally loses pretty well. I think yesterday was an exception, and I think with time, maybe she'll regret it, maybe she won't, maybe she doesn't give a shit about it. But yeah, Mike.
She did release a statement today during the match, basically saying, I shouldn't have said what I said.
She
essentially, yeah. She said, I didn't play my best. Coco stepped up and played with poise and purpose. She earned that title. Respect, time to rest, learn, and come back stronger. So,
well, good. I mean, listen, if she says it about herself, what are we going to say? And I'm not going to rip her for it, because I've done worse in bad emotional states, and it was poor form for her. I was disappointed. We did our show, and I generally like Aryna a lot. I think she has a lot to the game. I think she has dealt with losses pretty well before. Losing to Madison was a heartbreaker too, and I thought she was brilliant in the postmortem of that match. But it felt like a personal shot at Coco a little bit, like kind of taking away her shine a little bit, which I thought was just unnecessary. She can think all those things, and we can say that she didn't play great. But one of the things I want to I challenge us in the media to do is that if we talk about a match with Madison and how, it wasn't great tennis and Coco won, and then in the final we can say it wasn't great tennis but Coco won, shouldn't we just take a second and say, what Coco's really good at? She's good at making people not play well. Right? Like if it happens over and over and over and over again, and I need to do this too, but it's like, oh, it was an ugly match. You know who's really good at winning those matches once she creates that atmosphere? Coco. That's a skill. That's not luck. We've seen it too many times. That's a skill. The variance in shot, the slices in shot, the spin on the forehand versus the flat backhand, it all looks different. The unpredictability on the serve can work a couple of ways. So I'm glad Aryna came out and said something, because I read the press conferences, and I'm trying to think of a way to kind of put whipped cream on top of shit. And it still just kind of looked like shit. So I'm a huge fan of hers. I'm sure she'll regret it. I would, it seems like she already kind of does. It was just, she can think all those things, and she could say it to her team, we've all done stuff like that. And it just wasn't great. And then to kind of contrast that with Jannik today, it was very different. We're all aspirational. I did a lot of things when I was younger in my career that I wouldn't have done when I was older, and handled things better when you're older, and sometimes not. So have some grace, because you've all done stuff that's probably beneath your own personal precedent too. But just pointing out that when we do this show, our goal is to get it out quickly to you and turn it around. And there's a whole process in between where we have to, Techie Sean and Mike have to edit it. I just get up with the chair and leave. But, so I don't always have all the information, and I'd rather come in here with my own feelings than have to regurgitate what they say. But, sometimes it works. 2 days ago with Novak, you nail it. And, yesterday I was genuinely surprised by Aryna's reaction, and not only being disappointed and saying it wasn't my best and Coco deserves it is very different than that's the worst final I've ever played, and that's the worst I've played in 6 months. And it felt like it was like once the horse was dead, we shot it in the head anyways. So anyways, but listen, this I don't want to detour too long from what we just saw today. I have a question for you two. If you compare this, and I'm very biased in this question, and I'm leading the witnesses here. But you compare this to other sports, and I've been in this a lot longer than you all have had to be in it. But 5 hours and 40 something minutes on the biggest stages, to just put this into context, and since it's on TNT and they're coming off of having done basketball for a long time, and this isn't to say one thing doesn't mean you're throwing shade at someone else. I'm celebrating and applauding one set of athletes. An NBA game is 48 minutes played in air conditioning, where you have teammates, halftime, timeouts, the whole thing, communication. I think tennis players are the best athletes in the world. And it's the more I watch it, the more I think it. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong, because I think when you pull all the elements together of what makes up a great athlete, and Sean and I were talking about this the other day, it's like, it's not just who can jump the highest or run the fastest or, who is clutch. It's everything all at once. And to think about all the other sports that are in their own right so incredible and filled with these amazing athletes, a lot of them have support, right? You don't have to be the tallest, fastest, strongest, smartest at every moment and think on your own and be isolated on an island and battling your own demons and have no one to confide in all those moments more than you do in tennis. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, 5 hours and 40 minutes of just pure isolation and focus. I don't think there's anything else like it, The only other sport I can think of that is as grueling timing wise and can go on and on and on, that seems endless sometimes, is like NASCAR racing. And it's like, it's completely different, right? It's, they still have a team and they're still relying on each other, and it's a machine. Like it's the most incredible thing. I've never watched a sporting event like what we witnessed today.
Yeah, it's just I don't feel like you can have a skill that's way better, but it doesn't allow you to just silo off those skills to be effective. Does that make sense? Like an offensive lineman, and obviously, I know we're going to get the comments, you're not getting hit in the head. I understand the hard parts of a lot of sports, but I could have, in a team sport, I would have been able to almost isolate my skill set where I didn't have to hit backhands, right? Or I didn't have to play for 5 hours if that wasn't my strength. Or, and the list goes on and on and on. You have to be strong, fast, mentally resilient. You have to be able to basically do sprint intervals while also using hand. It's the most complete examination of an athlete that I can think of. And it's weird when you're in it and doing it. I don't know that I gave the credit for, I knew it was hard. I knew people were amazing. It's just gone further. And I think tennis is having this moment of, we used to get viewed as like, oh, you're soft, like country club sport. I don't know that narrative exists. I don't know how you can watch what happened today and not say the athleticism on display is otherworldly. And that's before we get to the isolating factors. That's before we get to, oh, they're playing on this type of surface right now. And then in 3 weeks, they're going to be playing another one of the biggest tournaments on something that's completely different. And we have to adapt. We don't have a training camp. It's like, has to be done pretty quickly. And then you have to do that 14 times during the year. I hear a lot of about the NFL, and they're like, oh, well, they got that West Coast time change. And I'm going, dude, try Memphis on a Friday and Dubai on a Monday. I don't want to hear about Los Angeles, and it's just, I say this because I'm happy with the reaction and the respect that tennis is deservedly getting in this moment. And it feels like a downhill snowball right now with respect, as it should be. And it's just like, you have these guys on the heels of the other three guys, and it's like, how spoiled are we in the best possible way? You have Coco coming through. I mean, it's just TNT just hit the mother load with what happened this tournament. Like, I don't know that you could make anything better for them. It's great. And that means there's going to be more investment in the sport, and the sport's going to grow, and we're all going to fight about how it should grow, but it's growing.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, when I watch this, I think this is like Carlos's Tom Brady versus the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl game, right? Like 28-3 in this comeback. I mean, you're watching 3 championship point opportunities, and it wasn't that Jannik didn't close it. It was that Carlos kept fighting to win it. I was looking at the stat lines, and if I was to tell you, the player that had the most aces, 0 double faults, the most first win serve percentage, the best first win serve percentage, and had the most total points won. If I was to read that stat line to you, you'd be like, oh, that person probably won.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Yeah. That can happen. As someone
That's just how close it was.
Who I think won more points than he lost one time in a slam final and lost. Like, that's just the way it is. It's such, and so that's another thing. Like, that's a good point. Like, let's throw that in. How great do you have to be situationally all the time in tennis?
It's crazy.
Like, you have to reset. You have to lie to yourself. Oh, I lost the first set. Mentally, let's turn it around quickly. Like, it's just like, imagine Carlos being down, playing this cyborg of a human in Sinner. And I mean that in the most complimentary way, where the guy plays tennis like a robot. He's that good, where he just can execute the way he does. Down 2 sets in a break. And like, all right, I know I'm at least 3 hours away from this win, and so much pain, and just to do it, but you have to do it like 30 seconds at a time. You can't skip anything. You can't skip steps. You can't say, okay, we're just going to throw the ball 50 yards downfield and try to get a score in, 30 seconds. Like, you can't do that. You can't score quickly. You can't. The scoreboard is a scoreboard is a scoreboard. Like, you can't take shortcuts. You have to pay the bill physically. It's just like, situationally, you just have to be so perfect all the time. It's just amazing. I'm just in awe. Like, I just kudos to these champions. We're gonna get like a proper recap show with JW, like we always do. But fucking hell, what a tournament this was. Like, it might be my favorite French Open ever. Not saying I don't like players more. Not saying like the Andre and 99 of things and the Rafa things, but like think about Bosson, and we'll get into this in the recap, but like, there are so many amazing stories. And then it ends with 1v2 and dramatic finals. And
it started with a Nadal retirement ceremony. And now, I mean, it's just like storybook, the whole tournament.
Point to point, it has been a pleasure to come chat with you all daily during this tournament. I appreciate you giving us the audience, and trusting us to deliver information in a responsible way. We'll always tell you when we get it wrong, but there was a lot to get right with this event. It was a pleasure to come to you daily. It's a big quick serve presented by Amazon Prime. We'll see you at Wimbledon. Support for the show comes from Amazon Prime. Prime is more than just fast, free delivery. It's your go-to for streaming music, movies, and sports. Plus, it's also a great way to connect with the things you love. Into skiing? Stream ski films on Prime Video even when the slopes are bare. Love fishing? You can get new gear delivered fast and be back by the water in no time. Planning your next big trip? Prime helps you get everything you need faster than you can write your out-of-office email. Whatever you're into, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.